We are gathered here
Do you want to know how to make your wedding day dreams come true?
I do.
And I do too.
Changing light bulbs is usually not a dangerous occupation unless it's done 522 feet above the waters of Lake Michigan. But it's not the height of the Mackinac Bridge that makes it so unusual. Rather, it's the length. The world's longest suspension bridge is 950 feet longer than California's Golden Gate Bridge and connects Michigan's upper and lower peninsulas. This unique suspension bridge is maintained by unique men, including Glenn Lewis, one of only 2 electricians who work at these heights. Glenn knows that a fall to the water below would be fatal. Yet despite the obvious risks, Glenn takes it all in stride.
It's a good feeling. I like it. I like climbing.
Do you ever feel like you have any sense of danger about it at all?
No, once you're used to it, it's pretty secure.
With that assurance, Glenn agreed to be my guide as we take a tour to the dizzying heights of Michigan's Mackinac Bridge.
There's no one working for us who doesn't have complete respect for the job he's doing.
Lawrence Rubin knows the dangers that the men face in maintaining this huge structure. He's been the man in charge for the past 25 years and has written a book on the construction of the bridge. Nicknamed Mighty Mac, Michigan's best-loved landmark spans the 5 miles between the state's 2 peninsulas. Over 3,000 men poured 630,000 tons of concrete and spun 42,000 miles of wire before its opening 25 years ago. But the bridge was an expensive structure to build, costing nearly $100 million and the lives of 5 men. Today, maintenance of the bridge is a full-time job and the most dangerous.
Are the jobs that the men do in maintaining this bridge dangerous?
Oh, yes. Yes. Would be ridiculous to think they're not. And as long as the men know they're dangerous, they're going to be careful.
What kind of a person then does it take to work on that bridge?
A very agile and courageous one.
Every day for 5 months, from May through September, these painters apply over 5,000 gallons of paint to the bridge's superstructure, and they draw hazard pay for working so high above the water.
Well, because I'm going to the top, do I qualify for the hazard pay?
I'm sure PM Magazine will take good care of you.
Well, no hazard pay for me, but I'm still determined to climb with Glenn to the top. As we start out onto the bridge, Glenn stopped to show me a part of the bridge that most travelers have never seen. These huge and partially hollow structures are the anchor piers, and they are the key to holding the huge steel cables in place and keep the bridge standing. I feel like I'm descending into a cave or dungeon instead of a bridge. These piers are hollow for 7 stories straight down. The lights from our camera can't begin to penetrate the gloom. Finally, with the bottom in sight, Glenn informs me that the cement at our feet is solid for another 70 feet through water into solid bedrock. From the outside of the pier, the cable passes through the pier wall, where the wires are separated and looped around holding blocks embedded in the wall.
Is where the bridge is actually held up, where the main cables are anchored into the concrete.
So that huge cable sort of gets split down here, and then
It's made up of these individual cables, all brought together to form the main cable.
And this was done 25 years ago, and that won't change.
That's right.
Wow.
Wow is right when you consider each cable weighs nearly 12,000 tons. After a long climb back to daylight, it's back in the truck and onto one of the 2 522-foot towers. These graceful structures are nearly as tall as the Washington Monument, with a weight of over 6,000 tons. We enter the tower by climbing through a hatch into a small elevator, which puts us near the top 5 minutes later. Glenn said we had some climbing to do, and now I find out just what he meant. The tower is honeycombed with thousands of small rooms and doors to give the tower strength.
Guy could get lost in this place easy.
I'm leaving breadcrumbs behind us.
It's like a weird game of Dungeons and Dragons, Glenn.
No fat guys in here.
Another 10 minutes of ducking through hatchways and squeezing around corners, we reach the ladder to the top. I'm out of breath and my head hurts where I bumped it on the ceiling, and yet Glenn assures me that what I'll see at the top will make it all worthwhile.
Yeah, there's a breeze blowing today.
A breeze? Woo! Oh my God. What a view! You ever get used to this? Oh my God.
like the very first time you saw this view?
It was definitely a rush.
Well, I'm having a rush. What a rush. About a 30-mile-an-hour rush.
At least today.
But we weren't this high up just to enjoy the view. It was time for Glenn to go to work. Every time I think I've gone high enough, you keep taking me a little bit higher here, Glenn.
Well, this is as high as you can go right here.
What a view. Now listen, do these safety belts work?
Well, mine does.
In that case, I'm going to put mine down and hang onto the railing and watch you work. One of Glenn's jobs as electrician is replacing the 120-watt light bulbs in over 90 locations on both cables. The only way for Glenn to reach these lights is by walking up or down the 12-inch wide cable. The lifeline Glenn wears around his waist is hooked on only when reaching the light. The rest of the time, a good grip and sure footing are his only defense against a fall to the cold, hard water below.
You're just, you're focusing on your work. You concentrate on it, and it's second nature after a while. You just get used to it.
You make it look so easy.
Yeah, I suppose.
You do this climbing all the time in all kinds of weather. Is there a time when you actually wouldn't be up here? Would the winds be bad enough so that you would say, no, I can't do it today?
It's possible, yeah. It can get real windy up here at times.
Despite the obvious dangers involved with his job, Glenn plans on continuing to climb this mighty bridge for no other reason than his love of climbing and working out of doors. Thanks to the courage and dedication of Glenn and his co-workers, the Mighty Mac will continue to inspire awe and enchant generations to come. We've all had, at one time or another, the misfortune of an unpleasant visit to a public restroom, forcing us to go to Plan B. But inside this total station in Midland, there is a restroom that deserves a Golden Throne Award for its cleanliness and its decorative appeal that keeps customers coming back. They're even willing to stand in line to get in. Have you used their restroom?
No, I haven't.
You should use it.
Okay.
It's
I
beautiful.
Shall. Is it?
Yeah.
I will use it.
All right.
Thank
Have you used their restroom?
Oh yeah, every time I come here, nearly.
That's become the most popular room in the building.
Yeah, it sure has. I'm very satisfied with it. It's clean.
It was the employees here who transformed a drab rest stop into a colorful and conversational visit behind closed doors. I just want you to know, in 42 years of broadcasting, this is the first time I've interviewed a woman in a restroom.
I'm not too surprised. We nicknamed it our Caribbean paradise. None of us can afford to go to the Caribbean, so we thought, wow, you know, bring it to us.
You have the borders. And how'd you come up with all these ideas?
Well, I came up with a plan and introduced it to my manager, and she liked it. And I said, well, let me see what I can find. So I started shopping and came up with a picture first, and then found the fishnet, and then I went to an antique warehouse and found the old oar. Thought that would be cool too.
This total station is competing against others for the best restroom. The winning employees share a $5,000 prize. If you win this, would you be flushed with excitement?
Oh, yes.